Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. As always, I'm your host and game master, AJ. I want to start today's episode with a little bit of an apology, as obviously this episode was originally supposed to be released a week ago, but had to be delayed. I really hate having to push back release dates, especially ones that I'd announced, during episodes, as I did at the end of the last one, and usually do on most of them. And delaying stuff like this isn't ever really a decision that we like to take lightly. I won't go into details, but in this case, I'm afraid it was actually kind of unavoidable due to a couple of family emergencies. I just want to thank you all so much for your patience in waiting that extra week for this episode. And with that in mind, I think you've all waited long enough. So let's get straight into it.
Previously on Frontier.
There's limitations on what the holodeck can do right now. Do you think you could maybe help me not get around them, but like push the limits a little bit, maybe?
We could get in a lot of trouble for going around restrictions like this.
Nobody's gonna know that we're doing this, right? You can cover your tracks.
Sure, yeah. Just,
Okay. I'll keep watch.
Don't go blabbing about it.
Commander Aurora, I had a bit of a mishap.
Yep, you fell into the edge of a door, of course.
Murphy, when you instigated this rule about security protocols, would you have put in some kind of warning system, do you think?
Yes.
Okay.
There would be like an alert.
Ensign Kana is in main sickbay.
Ensign, do you know why I'm here? I already know about Bonge. I'll deal with Bonge later. You should know better.
Come.
I've been hearing some interesting rumblings from stellar cartography. As you know, the sensor suite just got a couple of upgrades, and, well, there hasn't really been a chance to point at anything weird yet. So there's this proposal here for, a weird thing to point at.
This checks out. Sure, I'll take it to the captain and see what he says.
So, Ray, you step off the turbolift onto the bridge. You can see that Commander Talin is currently in the captain's chair. She looks up as you enter and just sort of gives you a slight nod before turning back to be looking out of the main view screen. No sign of the captain. You would guess he's probably in his ready room right now.
I shall wander down the side of the bridge. I'm guessing I've come in on the left side, like the main turbolift.
If you're facing forward, then yes.
Yeah. So I walk down and then turn left at the bottom and press the buzzer to alert the captain that I've arrived.
Come. Commander.
Captain?
What can I do for you?
This is the pad with the stellar cartography proposal.
Oh, of course. Can you give me a quick summary?
Certainly, sir. Basically, sir, stellar cartography department, well, they want to run some more in-depth calibrations on the new sensor upgrades that we received at Starbase. They have proposed a diversion to the Zhukir system, which is only about 12 hours out of our way on current course heading. Within the next 48 hours, its sun should be reaching the peak of its 28-year solar cycle, which would be the perfect time to run those particular calibrations. Of interest, though, sir, is the second planet in the system. It has an enlarged core, which gives it a stronger magnetosphere than other planets of the same size. And they tell me that the Aurora should cover almost the whole planet, sir. So there should be quite a show to see. I think, personally, sir, I think it's a good test of the upgrades we've had to the Tenzing.
I'm inclined to agree. Be good to give our new systems a thorough workout before we're out of Federation space. Good thinking, Commander.
I can't take the credit for this. It was Lieutenant Commander Fell who brought the proposal to me.
Well, nevertheless, my compliments to your team. I'll give this a full read-through this morning and make my final decision, but from what you told me, it all sounds like a good idea.
Wonderful. I'll give the guys in stellar cartography the good news. Thank you, sir.
Of course. Well, don't let me keep you, Commander.
Sir, I turn around and walk out of the ready room.
Okay. So, to get a long story short then, basically, the captain approves this plan, and the ship diverts from its course towards Deep Space 3 towards the uninhabited Zhukir system, arriving there after about 12 hours of travel. So we go, as I say, a little bit of a time jump there, and let's say then it's been 12 hours. Probably different crew on the bridge, but the captain is on the bridge as the ship comes out of warp into the system. Ray, you're probably on the bridge as well. I would imagine you've kind of brought this to the captain, so you're sort of spearheading it, I guess, at this point. Mm-hmm. Who else? Where's everybody else? What have you been doing? I think this is something that gets kind of hand waved in the show as well. That like they sometimes go off and do things, and you would think like, well, who's telling everybody what's going on? Is there some guy sat downstairs in the cupboard who's just like his job is this light comes on, I don't know what's going on outside the ship at any time because nobody tells me. I feel like
I'd imagine there's like a briefing or like a summary at the start of every shift kind of thing, or like especially like the heads of
department are giving out
heads of department are notified about things like changes in like courses or changes in
like mission parameters and such. Yeah. Makes sense.
I'd imagine they'd be prompted.
So so all of these kind of summaries have gone out and been sort of disseminated amongst the crew. So you've all got a sort of, you know, I mean, to different departments, you know, it's going to be different sort of different levels of detail needed, really. So the security department, you know that you were in an uninhabited system within Federation space to do some science stuff.
Yes.
The engineering department know to probably expect a little bit of extra strain on the deflectors because of the sort of the sun in the Zhukir system kicking out a bit more stellar material because it's at its peak, and also to maybe keep an eye and make sure the shields are balanced properly, you know. So we don't want any nasty cosmic rays and things sort of sneaking their way through, especially if you're going to be close to a planet that's experiencing some strong Aurora. Medical, not a huge amount in the way of updates there, Dr. Irila, but you've been basically just informed, hey, here's where we are, here's what we're doing, sort of thing.
Okay.
As I say, it's
still...
Yeah.
The commander's perfectly happy just kind of getting to know her staff.
But sciences, again, have the most in-depth sort of briefing on it. But as the mission was kind of spearheaded within the ship itself, science department, everyone who needs to be sort of aware of everything is pretty well sort of clued up on, okay, here's what we're going to be testing for, here's why we're here, here's what we're looking for. I'd say that an in-depth brief has probably been put together by those who proposed the mission anyway, and this was the basis of all the other briefings throughout the ship, you know, in their varying levels of detail and such. For all of your benefit, though, we can say that the sun of the Zhukir system is a main sequence star, about 1.7 stellar masses, which is a little bit younger than our own sun, but is still nearly 4 billion years old. The system is home to 5 planets of varying classes. The second planet, Zhukir 2, is going to be the main focus of the Tenzing stop here, other than the Sun itself. It is an M-class planet with an oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere and a temperature range capable of sustaining life, so it could be called fairly Earth-like. The major difference between it and Earth, however, is the planet's enlarged core, which was discovered when the system was initially mapped by Starfleet nearly 200 100 years ago. This core is the reason for the planet's strong magnetic fields, and it's kind of the reason that you're all here. As the ship drops out of warp into the system, fairly close to the second planet, those on the bridge can see, although it's still a little bit distant, that the predicted Aurora effects in the planet's atmosphere are already beginning to blaze with an incandescent sort of green light visible on the main view screen. The Aurora is extending towards the equator from each of the planet's poles, like sort of searching kind of fingers of light. The planet isn't yet fully engulfed, but your predictions would say that this is probably not too many hours away.
Okay, so I'm seeing this, and I sort of quietly say to myself, nice.
Drop out of water, you're like, sweet.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay.
He's not particularly big on profound phrases.
That's fair. No, I like it. Okay, who wants to be doing what? What's the what are you all thinking? I'm leaving this to you. Where do you want to be? What do you want to be doing?
Okay, well, Sabin will be at the science station at the back of the bridge, making sure everything's prepped, ready for the stellar cartography guys to do their thing.
Running any scans? What are you doing? You just kind of preparing things, so
running a level 2 diagnostic on the running level 2 diagnostic on the systems themselves, making sure that there's no last minute hiccups. Just making sure the upgrades aren't conflicting with any of the older systems, because it is a retrofit, isn't it?
It's an upgrade, really. I mean, the ship it's not a new ship.
No.
It's not an old. It's not old, but this is definitely been an upgrade. So you're doing a diagnostic. Let's have a check for that. Actually, so a diagnostic would be kind of like an engineering type thing, but you're just kind of running through some basic checks. Even though you're a science guy, you've got the sort of wherewithal to know how to run like a check on your own sensors, kind of thing. So, but this will be an engineering check. So I guess this would be a reason engineering, I guess. Which is actually pretty good for you. That's 16 or under.
Okay.
So 2d20.
2d20?
Difficulty 1. Oh, okay. Well, you got one success. Very close to a to a complication there. That 19 and a 10 for listeners. But yeah, things are... Okay, well, let's narratively explain that 19 then. Things are a little fuzzier than you would expect. But you're able to narrow that down to being a result of the all the solar material that the sun is kicking off at the moment. So it's kind of, you're picking up a little bit more interference than you normally would in open space, but you can put that down to the sort of current situation
stellar
of the
activity.
system. Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, though, the sensors seem to be prepped as normal and working.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, yep. Sure. What's anybody else want to be doing?
I think Johnny will sneak down. Ideally, what I'd like to do is, if Bonge is on shift and Johnny's not on shift, I'd like to go down and meet him somewhere, like engineering, and catch up with him. Just sort of drop by and say hello.
Okay, yeah, Bonge is. You're in your quarters, and you get the hankering to go check in with your roommate.
So, computer, tell me where Ensign Bonge is.
Ensign Bonge is in main engineering.
Okay. He jumps up and starts heading down there, thinking to himself, like, what's happened to him? Has comeuppance come his way? Did he get in trouble? He really wants to kind of check in on that front. So, head down to engineering.
Okay. So you don't come down here too often, but you've been in once or twice. As the doors open, you can't see any sign of Ensign Bonge straight away. You guess he could be working around the other side of the warp core. But at the kind of main engineering desk, sort of in the center of engineering, with the kind of warp core in the background pulsing away, there is a kind of... he's not particularly tall, he's about 5'8". Fairly sort of bedraggled looking man, a bit of sort of scruffy beard, looks up as you come in. Hello there, Ensign. What can I do for you?
Hello, sir. I was just looking for Ensign Bonge. I just wanted to have a quick word with him.
I'm sure he's around here somewhere. Bonge, someone to see you. This is Commander Carter, who you don't know probably too well personally, Johnny, but he's got a reputation on board that you've heard as a little bit of an oddball. But the engineers all seem to like working for him. Ensign Bonge kind of comes around the corner. He's holding a tricorder. You called, Commander? Oh, Johnny, what are you doing down here? Thought you were off shift right now.
I just wanted to catch up, have a quick word. And he kind of walks over towards him in a kind of like, he's got that leaning towards him of like, let's head over in this direction that I'm walking in and chat.
So sort of putting a hand on his back and just sort of leading him sort of slightly away out of earshot of the commander.
Not quite that heavily, but certainly kind of like trying to give all the physical motions of like, hey, let's just get away from this commanding officer and have a quick chat.
Yeah. I mean, as you lead Bonge away, Carter has pretty much gone back to what he's doing, working on the central console. But you just about catch him saying to one of the other engineers, "Ooh, I know when I'm not wanted," as you round the corner.
I like it. But anyway, around the corner then, let's say, Johnny's going to turn to Bonge and say, "Oh, Bonge, so my commanding officer pretty much immediately came and found me after what happened the other day. Did anybody have a word with you about what happened with the holodeck?"
Well, no, I haven't heard anything. I thought we got away with it, you know.
No. She'd put some kind of warning in, like you'd said it yourself that you thought there'd be some kind of failsafe. Somebody was going to get a warning, and it was her.
But did she know I was involved?
Yeah, she knew.
What?
Yeah.
How did this happen?
Well, I mean, like I said, some kind of security ping went off. I guess she checked footage, and we would just... I mean, it was pretty obvious what we did if you look back at it. I mean, really.
I mean, look, I'm trying to make a good impression here. This is my first posting, and...
Well,
I got security, Lieutenant Murphy, Commander... I'm all over the place, man.
Calm down. Okay, Lieutenant Commander Murphy is...
You gotta help me.
She's a fair commander sometimes. And he thinks for a second about all those times in the cold... Well, not necessarily cold. in the metaphorical cold of sitting in a room counting weapons.
I just imagine him getting flashbacks of... like Vietnam flashbacks of Murphy shouting at him in various different scenarios, sort of thing.
Not even necessarily shouting, but just because I think it's more withering most of the time. It's like he just gets told to do boring, mundane tasks as his punishment a lot, and that's the thought that crosses his mind.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's worse.
And he kind of, with all this in mind, he looks at Bonge and he says...
You can see Bonge is just sweating now, and he's kind of looking around like a little bit, sort of like, well, what has she talked to Carter? I mean,
look,
not yet.
You just loom out of a Jeffries tube, like.
I like to think that Johnny has like my voice in his head now and again, like going like, or like an image of Murphy just being like folding our arms and just staring at him, going, "What the fuck are you doing?"
All that in mind.
Or like, "Don't do that, Johnny. No, Johnny, you're gonna get caught."
His conscience.
Yeah.
Johnny looks kind of solemn and looks Bonge in the eyes and just says, "I hope you like cleaning Jeffries tubes."
Oh, but that's... They clean themselves, don't they? They can't get us to do it. They'll rub the knees right out of my uniform.
Not if they turn off the self-cleaning unit.
Oh.
And you better believe me, I've worn out more than enough knees on these uniforms. Those replicators, it doesn't matter. You can just go and get another one, and she knows it.
So that comment could have so gone the other way.
Yeah, why do you think I burst out laughing?
Worn out so many knees in this uniform.
Johnny's innocence means that was said with pure intent.
I feel like Johnny keeps coming out with stuff that is like right up to the line of being you could raise an eyebrow and going, "What do you mean by that?" Like,
are we doing the phrasing thing?
Yeah, we're still doing phrasing. But Bonge is like, he's kind of looking around as if as if half expecting to see Murphy just kind of looking down at him from the balcony above, like by the warp core. Like you've put him into quite a stressful. He's looking quite stressed out. That's what I'm saying.
Being all of that, Johnny's going to try and reassure and say, "Look, don't freak out, man. Like, she's already spoken to me, and it wasn't that bad. Yeah, I got chewed out, but as long as you're honest, I think that, look, we're ensigns. We're kind of going to get away to some extent with doing some wrong stuff, as long as we don't push it too hard."
That's not how it works. We're the first to get it in the neck, man.
Well, look,
there's a chain of command here.
What's done is done, and we're going to have to eat whatever punishment comes our way. And I expect it's going to be grueling and tedious, because that's the way it goes.
Well, you're not exactly putting my mind at rest here, you know. I don't like grueling. I spend my life avoiding things that are grueling.
You're going to have to grit those sharp teeth and deal with it. And with that, Johnny kind of looks around to see, like, he kind of peers his head around the corner to see if the noise of this, what has probably escalated a little bit.
Yeah, you guys are kind of, you're not whispering so much anymore. You look, and Commander Carter is kind of casting an eye in your direction. It's kind of noisy in here anyway with the warp core and that, but, you know, it was definitely obvious that there was some intense discussion going on, even if the words themselves didn't maybe make it round. He's kind of giving you a look like, "Ooh, something's going on over there." But It doesn't appear to be looking to intervene.
So, peering back around, Johnny says, "Okay, look, whenever she comes and speaks to you, and it's going to happen, just be honest. Say what happened, and hope for the best. I'm going to have to leave you to it, I guess. Like, I shouldn't distract you from too much of your work, but I thought you should know what was happening."
I'm pretty distracted now. I gotta be honest with you.
Look, like I said, you're just going to have to deal with some lost downtime. That's the worst thing that's going to happen here. I don't think it's going to get any worse than that.
I mean, you could have told me after I finished work. I'm now going to be thinking about it all day.
Come on, man, pull yourself together. And Johnny kind of starts walking around the corner as if, like, he's just forcing this conversation to end now, and for him to really, if you're going to follow me around this corner, you've got to pull yourself together, because your commanding officer's there. So round we go.
So you walk around the corner, you look back, and a second after you go around the corner, Bonge has come back, and he's like tucking like a cloth into his pocket. He's clearly just wiped away a flop sweat, but he's still looking pretty, like, his eyes are a bit darty and everything. But he's kind of doing his best, which is not very good, to put on like a everything's fine kind of face.
Johnny, by comparison, is relatively smooth. Because in that way where Johnny is kind of like, he knows what it's like to be beaten down by higher ranks, and in a way that experience means that he, in his head, is a higher rank than Bonge, at least in being talked down to.
You've had a day to think about it now, because you definitely buckled immediately when you were confronted by Murphy in sickbay.
Yeah.
But now you've had a day to kind of plan out how you were going to look smooth, I guess.
I think to some extent there would be a thought of, right, I'm going to teach this guy the ropes. He's worrying. He thinks I can remember when I worried like this. And there's almost a sense of recognizing something of himself in Bonge right now. And that's why he's getting impatient. But he doesn't realize that yet. He's getting impatient, and it hasn't clicked that that's why.
Okay.
So he's going to walk around the corner, nod towards the commanding officer and say, "Sir," and make his way out and say, "Oh,
Benson," and
then call back towards Bonge and say, I'll see you after your shift."
Yeah, Bonge just barely responds. He says, yeah. Sort of waves you off.
And Johnny leaves.
As you're leaving, the last thing you hear is the voice of Captain Carter going, "Everything all right there, Ensign Bonge?" As the doors close on the turbo lift.
And yeah, Johnny's just going to spend some leisure time chilling out in 10 forward, just relaxing, maybe play a board game or something, bit of Vulcan chess.
The thing as well is that you've gone down there and basically stressed out Bonge with talk of punishment details and everything, but your punishment was, hey, watch yourself. And that's it? Like...
Dick move, dude.
Yeah.
Stressing the poor Ferengi out for no reason.
I mean, you have got to watch yourself in that, I would imagine. But like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It was an hour ago. My brain isn't working so good.
I thought there was a time jump.
Yeah, I mean,
like
an hour ago in real life.
Our time.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I feel like you didn't like give him like too much. You threatened him with scut work if he stepped out of line again. But
I let him know what. Well, as far as Johnny's concerned, that was trying to warn him.
Murphy threatened you with scut work if you stepped out of line again.
Yeah, there was no real punishment.
Yeah.
Shit.
But you've gone down and told Bonge he's going to get punished.
I said maybe prepare. Well, I didn't say maybe. I said prepare yourself because I don't know. Maybe she's going to make an example of like, oh, you're new to the ship, so here we'll see. Like,
and she's not even his superior officer, so it wouldn't be her dishing out a punishment.
No, she's the one in charge of the protocol. She's the one that got the ping. So surely she's the one, especially being chief of security, or at least high up in security.
No, she's chief of security.
I'm chief of security.
Yeah, exactly, chief of security. So of course, she's going to be the one that internally on the ship is going to administer like at least a talking to.
This is what Johnny's thinking.
Surely, yeah. He works in security. There's chain of command, and within the ship, she's the one that found out, much to his, I don't know, horror.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just gonna like maybe now that I think about it, I'm gonna probably make you wash the dishes and 10 forward if you screw up. Okay.
I like all of these punishments are kind of like they all require just like we're not going to use the technology of now. We're going to force you to do things the old way.
Yes.
Those are the principles
Soap
on
and
which
water.
Starfleet was founded.
Exactly. Instead of peeling spuds, you're going to be doing the dishes.
You get punished with a mild inconvenience.
You don't get those dishes spotless. You don't deserve to wear that uniform.
Good job. Now put them in the replicator and we'll recycle them. So that's what Johnny's done. He's gone off and terrorized his roommate. Well, you're giving him a heads up.
Damn it! He's just trying to give him a heads up.
Yeah, you're giving him a heads up with the side effect of now he's quite stressed on duty. Should be that would be fair to say, I think.
That was unintentional.
Yeah.
You are going to owe him that favour.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What would anybody else like to be doing? We know Ray's on the bridge doing his diagnostic. Johnny's tooling around, like just doing stuff, like
chilling out, relaxing.
Yeah, if you go to 10 forward, you get actually. Here we go then. So you get quite a nice view out of the viewport. You've kind of staked your favourite table, and you can see you get a nice view. A little bit further away than the ship was when you were in Earth Space Dock, but you can see Zhukir 2 through the front viewport, and you can definitely see sparkling green auroras reaching quite far north and south from the south and north poles of the planet.
Yeah, nice and relaxing.
Johnny, he's walking around with a clear conscience.
Yeah, as far as he's concerned, it really was.
I know. It's just funny.
It's a lesson.
Anyway, Murphy, Aurelia, anything you want to be doing?
I'd imagine if Johnny's off duty, Murphy will be on duty then. Mm-hmm. So I'd imagine she'd be doing some scans of the planet and mapping out potential possible landing sites for.
Okay, so you're on the bridge. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're doing scans, because Ray is sort of, I guess the sensors you were calibrating, Ray, were more the kind of the stellar sensors and that. So you're not really focused so much on the planet.
No, that's correct.
Yeah. So Murphy taking the lead on, I guess, the other sensor console. Can I get Murphy I guess this would be reason science with using the ship's sensors science as a third dice. I think that. Hang on, let me just double check that because it's. Yeah, whatever. I'm the GM. Do So can I get a sense? This would be reason science check from you, which is trying to get under a 12, so 2d20. And can somebody else roll a 1d20 for the ship systems, which is trying to get under a 16. So Murphy gets 2 10s.
I'll roll for the ship if you want.
Yeah, I was going to say this is a difficulty 2 check, so you've already got the 2 successes, but if you get a third one, you guys can generate some momentum.
Ooh.
Okay. What dice am I rolling for the ship?
1d20, trying to get, we're using systems, so sensors, science, so this is, this would be sensors engineering maybe. No, sensor science, because you're doing planetary scan. So trying to get under 16 or under, basically. On
Okay,
1d20. An 8. Awesome. Ooh. So that is 3 successes. So you guys get 1 momentum point, which you can hold on to. And there's a lot of things you can do with momentum, but just remember that you've got 1, I guess, at the moment. Mm-hmm. Momentum is a thing you can spend. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do. Usually, the most common one is going to be buying an extra dice to in a skill check, basically. So the base thing is you roll 2d20 in a check. You can spend a momentum point to roll 3d20, essentially, to still try and get the same number of successes is the sort of thing you're giving yourself more of a chance to do it. Anyway, so you guys have 1 point of momentum, so remember that you can spend it on a number of things at any point.
Okay.
So with 2 successes, you get a fairly comprehensive scan of the planet's surface, mapping out continents and such. In terms of landing sites, the one thing I will say is that the solar disturbances do seem to be kicking up a quite ferocious storm system in both the north and south hemisphere of the planet, and it seems to only be growing in sort of ferocity as even as the scan is going on. It's not completely covering the planet at all or anything by any means, but the magnetic disturbances that are sort of happening in the upper atmosphere do seem to be having an effect. There's about another 12 hours before the solar peak happens, but this is this obviously the things are already, the auroras are starting to build already, and it's definitely having an effect in the atmosphere. You would guess with your experience, it wouldn't be the best of ideas to fly a shuttle down into this atmosphere right now.
So you would say there's like a 12-hour cycle with a window that we could potentially
I would say the storm's gonna reach its peak in 12 hours, pretty much concurrently with the solar storm, essentially. They're related as well, because the storm on the planet is being kicked up by the magnetic disturbances in the upper atmosphere from the solar storm, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it's all kind of coming to a peak, which is, that's why the ship has come to the system, to sort of see this peak. And so and you can already see, just visually the sort of quite incredibly beautiful aurora that are kind of playing out over the upper atmosphere, but you would not recommend landing a shuttlecraft at this point, or at least trying to fly one in there, because as a survivor of a shuttle crash yourself, it's not the most fun. You don't really want to don't really want to try it again just quite yet. One interesting thing that your scan does pick up, and you're not sure, it's just a tiny amount, that the computer does several sweeps of the planet, and it's not always picking it up, but on a couple of the sweeps it does seem that you're getting trace amounts of tritanium and dilithium concentrated in one spot on the surface. These are not naturally occurring, or dilithium is, but not in this form.
Is it possible that it's a hull of a ship, maybe? Is there enough information that I could surmise that, or? You
would have to do a more detailed scan, but that's definitely a line of thinking. This is definitely an anomaly. Dilithium itself, like I say, is naturally occurring, but usually not on the surface. Tritanium, though, has to be manufactured. It's only picking up little trace amounts, though, and it's not appearing on every sensor sweep.
Lieutenant Commander Ray, can you double check these readings for me? Am I seeing this right? But does that look like a titanium signature?
Let's have a look.
I won't have you do another check because you're just looking at the same computer screen now.
Yeah, it checks out. That's definitely what you think it is.
That's a curious signature for an uninhabited planet.
Especially one this far out.
With all the interference the storm's creating, it's going to be a while before we can get down there.
Unless we modified the transporters somehow.
We could certainly try. Let's check with engineering, see if they can do anything to maybe boost the signal.
It's worth a shot.
I'm half tempted to get Ensign Bonge up here.
Use him as a test subject.
No, just...
No, but let's see if Bonge has any ideas. Fuck it, let's go for it. I'm going to tap my comm badge and Lieutenant Commander Murphy to Ensign Bonge.
Yes, Commander.
Would you mind coming up to the bridge, please? We'd like you to have a look at the transporter, see if you can maybe work some magic. I heard you're good at fixing things.
Sure, on my way, Commander. Yeah, I'll be there in a minute. Did you want me to bring Commander Carter with me?
No, just yourself's fine. If we need Carter, we can call him up.
Okay. I'm on my way.
Is it just me, or did it sound like someone put the fear of God into him about you?
Is that a bad thing?
No, not from where I'm standing. That was the right answer, right?
No, that's fine.
The captain wanders over at this point. Well, what have we got? What's going on?
Captain, we've found some interesting readings. We've found dilithium and a tritanium signature.
This system is meant to be uninhabited, isn't it, Commander Ray?
Yes, sir. No intelligent life on any of the planets in this system, according to previous reports. Either our sensors are malfunctioning, or the reports were wrong.
Or perhaps someone's crash-landed. I mean, we can't get a clear reading on it right now, but I thought it was a point of interest to bring up, sir.
Well...
How strange would it be if somebody from one of those missing Federation ships crashed here?
It's still quite a distance from the Bermuda cluster. I mean, I don't think that's likely, but plenty of other starships out there have gone missing over the years.
I guess we'll find out soon enough.
The storm's peaking in about 12 hours. We won't get a shuttle through. But I've got Ensign Bonge coming out to see if we can possibly boost the signal to the transporters, to see if we can get an away team down.
I'm not familiar with...
Yeah, he's the Ferengi ensign.
Oh, yeah.
Our newest ensign.
Well, if somebody's crashed down there, we ought to find out, shouldn't we? That storm looks like a hell of a thing.
Yeah, I probably would recommend only a short away mission, sir, just to on the safe side. We don't want to endanger our people any more than we have to.
Okay, well, you've got my blessing with that. Put together a team, and if we can figure out the transporter side of things, we'll get you down there.
Aye, sir.
Okay, a minute or so later, Ensign Bonge sort of tentatively steps out of the turbo lift. It's immediately apparent he's kind of sweating a little bit. He sort of he sees you and he kind of walks over. Are you wanted to see me, Commander?
Yes, I heard that you've got some talent with altering parameters. I want you to have a look at the transporters for me.
Oh, you want engineering work done? Well, yeah, we can do our best.
I'm just gonna smile. Yes, just engineering work for now.
I mean, of course.
I want you to try and see if you can boost the signal of the transporter beam so that we can get an away team through that storm.
Well, we can take a look. I can't do it here. I have to see if we can boost the power in the transporter rooms. But yeah, I don't think. I mean, I'm not an expert. I mean, that we should be able to.
Good. Get right on it, Ensign.
Okay, I'll I'll be in transporter room 1.
Call me when you're done.
He sort of, you see, he sort of nods and he kind of turns and he takes a couple of steps and you can tell he thinks he's being slightly sly about it, or at least he's really not conscious of how unsly he is, but he kind of lets out a bit of a sigh of relief as he walks away. It's very much audible, and he steps back into the turbo lift to go down to the transporter room.
Murphy's just going to chuckle to herself and go back to her console.
Okay, you don't have to wait very long before your comm badge. I mean, you're waiting maybe 45 minutes to an hour, so not the hugest wait, but considering the sort of growing storm downstairs, any minute. Yeah, every minute counts, kind of thing. But your comm badge, Pips, and
Enter Bonge to Lieutenant Commander Murphy.
Murphy here.
We think we got a solution. The transporter should be able to get you through that storm now. Hopefully.
How are we doing on the way back? Is there enough signal to get us back, or?
We don't know. We can definitely get people down there. But the magnetosphere is quite unpredictable right now. Might be a case of waiting it out once you're down on the ground.
All right, we'll be down. I will arrange a team, and we will converge on the transporter room in an hour.
Oh, okay. We'll be waiting.
Murphy out. Murphy's going to turn to Lieutenant Commander Ray, and Ray, I'm assuming you're wanting to come down with us?
Indeed. I'll join the away team.
All right. I will call sickbay as well. Murphy to sickbay.
Commander Urila here.
Commander, we are going to set up an away mission. Could you have yourself report to the transporter room in an hour? We might have to stay on the planet for a little while and wait out a storm, so prepare yourself accordingly, please.
Certainly. I will see you then.
Murphy out. I'm assuming I'm gonna have to phone Johnny as well. Phone Johnny.
You want to bring him with you? I'm leaving this up to you. I mean, and again, you don't need to limit yourself to the usual 4 people that we.
You don't have to bring him.
Yeah, but from a
no,
purely gameplay standpoint, I will say it would be kind of helpful if Johnny came with you.
Yeah, it's a way of torturing him as well.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Murphy to Ensign Conhart.
Funnel here.
Will you please report to the transporter room in an hour, please? We're going to be going down to the planet.
Aye, sir.
Murphy out.
Johnny Connor, no follow-up questions.
He's just following orders. He's just preparing.
Turn up. I'm not going to give him any other information.
He's too scared of Murphy at the moment.
Yeah, he knows
I just got away with something. I better not draw attention.
Yeah.
I better do as she says.
100%.
Okay. So, an hour passes. You, I mean, there's not a lot of equipping of stuff really. The standard kind of away team gear is generally stored in a room right by the transporter room. That is, unless you want to take anything specific with you. That is.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'll leave you some time to, unless there's like science equipment you need or medical equipment you want to take with you and stuff.
Well, it's up to each of you. What do you think? Okay, so here's the situation down on the planet, as far as you know, and I will let each of you tell me if there's anything specific you want to bring other than your regular sort of phaser sidearm and tricorder. So you get the records state that this is usually sort of fairly temperate planet, and the sort of area that you're going to be beaming down into is normally sort of quite sort of not tropical, but it's quite sort of nice. It's quite a habitable area, but the storm right now is making the growing storm is going to be making things a lot more complicated down there. The area that you're going to at the moment hasn't been hit with the full force of this storm front yet, but that's definitely going to be a concern going forward. There is life form readings showing that the area has a lot of plant life. There's indeterminate amounts of animal life down there as well, but the magnetic readings are messing with things. You can't actually tell what there is in terms of sort of humanoid life kind of in the vicinity of the area you're heading down to. So yeah, you've got an incoming storm system and unknown wildlife and plant life down there, and kind of unknown terrain really. So it's kind of, as I say, it's up to you what you want to equip yourself with. We can speak in general terms, or unless you know a specific piece of Star Trek equipment that you want to take, and we can just sort of mark it down as you're taking all weather gear, or you're taking, it's up to you. So.
Well, you just said all weather gear, and that feels like it'd be
that wasn't meant to be leading. I'm just saying, that was an example.
It feels sensible though, in terms of could we bring some kind of field generator to protect us, to have a bubble where, if there is rain and thunder and all that kind of stuff, we can have an artificial dome or something.
Yeah, I was thinking of one of those emergency, it's always like a cylinder kind of pack, like a duffel bag kind of thing, and it always has what's the word? The force field things that they can set up, a
the
force field in the cave. Yeah, something like that. No, but not the
transporter ones, but the kind of safety shield.
Smaller
thing.
Ones. Yeah. And they have emergency rations and stuff in them as well.
Yeah. So
it's
you could pick up
it's like a bug out bag kind of thing.
Yeah. Basically emergency kits sort of thing.
Yeah. I would definitely have at least one of them. Mm-hmm. Murphy would take at least one of them with her.
No problem.
I think it's a little bit beyond Connor probably being the one to suggest it, but you did say pattern enhancers, and I was thinking that when the build-up was happening there, in terms of getting back off the planet.
Yeah, that would work as well.
If we weren't sure that we can't get back with what's there, then pattern enhancers are probably a good idea.
Sure, yeah. Again, I didn't mention it. I keep saying stuff as an example. I'm 100% not meaning it. I'm not meaning it to be a leading thing or anything. I'm just saying a Star Trek thing and being oh god, yeah, no, that would be a good idea, wouldn't it? But sure, okay. So you taking pattern enhancers. You're taking survival kit with some miniature field generators.
Rila is not very keen on being particularly cold, so she is wrapped up nice and warm.
Yeah, I'd imagine we'd all have all weather gear,
thermal ponchos or something.
the silver shell suits.
Yeah, you all come down. Yeah, full on shell suits, like Adidas tracksuits and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you can outfit yourselves with an idea that hey, there's a storm coming in. We might want to be warm and stay dry, and that. Okay. Other than that, you've all got your regular phasers, tricorders, communicators,
medkit.
Obviously, yep. Well, obviously the doctor's got the knowledge as well.
So we're kind of set in terms of surviving if we're there for a little while, getting off the planet if possible. Is there anything else scenario-wise that we need to think of? We've got phasers, we're probably covered for protection.
Science. We need stuff for science.
Yeah, so I'll kit out the same sort of gear as them, but I'll take the science tricorder as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. They give you a little bit of extra scanning range and a bit more specialised sort of in terms of signatures and that.
Yeah. Well, actually, what I'll do, I won't just take the tricorder. I'll take the science equivalent of the big crusher at it. The medical pack, the big kind of almost like diamond hexagonal case.
But you're taking one with
scientific version.
Some extra battery packs and things and
Yeah.
The science thing. Okay. Yeah. Sure. No problem.
Cool.
All right. So The four of you convene in Transporter Room 1. Doors open. Ensign Bonge is in there with Transporter Chief Petty Officer Shavena, an Andorian, who looks a little not put out, but sort of clearly adjusting to the fact that apparently a Ferengi kind of bustled in here talking about souping up the transporters, but has gotten on board after he explained himself. It seems like they're just finishing up the work, and the Transporter Chief looks up and goes, Commanders, Ensign, going to be tough getting through all that atmospheric interference, but I think we've got all the necessary adjustments made.
Good work. We've got these pattern enhancers with us as well. Hopefully that'll make the ride home a bit smoother.
Good. I was going to suggest that you take those. With the situation as it is, we can't guarantee that we'd get a solid transporter lock to bring anyone back, so the enhancers would be a must if we were to attempt that. The captain walks in at this point. All good to go, Commander?
I think so, sir.
Good. Keep your wits about you down there. We don't know what's waiting for you.
Yes, sir. I'll report in as often as I can, sir.
He turns to you, Ray. If you get a moment, try and get some scans of the Aurora from the surface. It'd be good to get a different perspective.
I'll capture what I can, sir.
All right. Well, good luck, everyone. First away mission of the voyage. Kind of wish I was going with you. Be safe down there.
We'll be back, sir.
Remember to check in every hour.
Will do, sir. I'll try my best.
He gives each of you a reassuring smile and a nod, and as the four of you step onto the transporter pad, moves to stand next to Chief Shavena at the controls.
Energize.
You each feel the familiar slight tingle as the transporter cycle begins, and from the perspective of those left on board the Tenzing in the transporter room, the four of you disappear in a brief shimmering blue cascade of light, hopefully to reappear on the surface of Zhukir 2. Okay, that's going to do it for today's episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with the next chapter of Frontier on Thursday, November the 4th, and I really hope you'll all join us for that. In the meantime, as always, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at PretendWithDice. If you're a Discord user, we'd love for you to join us on our server, the links to which can be found in our Twitter bio and on the contact page and sidebar of our Podbean site at pretendingwithdice.podbean.com. Finally, we have a page on Ko-Fi, so if you'd like to support us on there, we're at ko-fi.com/pretendingwithdice. So yeah, for now, that's our show. We hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.